Okay, save your file. Before we go on, you can either go File, Save, or do Command S or Control S, which is what I prefer to do. Alright, so this doesn't look very good, does it? Okay, so let's add some stuff to it and make some adjustments. Again, if we look at the example, I don't know if you can see it on the screen, but there's this really nice texture in the background here. Let's add that, and here's how we do it. Go into Windows Explorer or Finder on your Mac and select this 1B plasma texture.jpg. Right click, open with Photoshop, and there it is. It's a pretty large high-res image. Do a Command or Control A to select everything so you get the marching ants around the whole image. Command or Control C as in cat to copy. So now it's copied on the clipboard, so we can close this. We're done with 1B plasma texture. Now, in your file we've been working on, make sure your plasma layer is selected, because we want to, when we paste this, it'll paste as a new layer on top of it. So make sure the plasma layer, the top layer, is selected. Now Command or Control V, Victor, to paste, and you get this big honking image will come on here. And that looks really stupid, right? So here's, first of all, let's, in the Layers palette, come over to the Layers palette and name this Plasma Texture, P-L-A-S, did I do that right? Yeah. I'm going to just call it Plasma Text. If you're a student in my course, this is new material I'm going to show you here. So here's the layer. This is called the blending mode. It defaults at normal. Blending mode is an extremely powerful part of Photoshop that really helps you adjust images. Where it says normal, hit the drop down menu and you see you have several choices, and if you just like cursor through them, you'll see the image will change. And all of these blending modes have different functionalities, different applications. If we choose, for example, hard light, we get this very, garish, lights and darks very much accentuated. Hard mix, it goes even, more into like the 1980s music video kind of realm. For this one, choose overlay. Okay, don't choose any other of these weird ones. Well, divide looks pretty cool though. I might use that in the future one, but for this one, let's use overlay because I want a more subtle effect. Okay, so I got plasma texture set at overlay, and you can see it's extraordinarily garish and like way too over the top. So I'm going to crank down the opacity until I get something that looks, palatable. That's a little bit, maybe around 30. When I get to 30%, that looks pretty cool to me. Okay, so set it overlay, opacity of 30%. That looks good. Now if I look at the step back here and look at the clouds I painted, they look kind of like, it's just not working for me. They look like too blobby, so let's adjust that. So click on the plasma layer and let's do a Command T so we can transform the shape of the clouds. Command T, and I get the bounding box. We could just grab these and stretch these like this, but something else I want to show you. With Command T, after you hit Command T and you see the bounding box, click Edit, Transform, and some of these we'll use later on in this project, but let's choose Distort. Okay, so Command T, then Edit, Transform, Distort. Now I can independently grab these handles, the corner handles at least, and move my clouds around until I get something that shape-wise and color-wise, all I want to do is kind of expand the area that the clouds were covering. It looked like just too blobby to me. So when I get something I like, I'll hit return, and that's cool. Okay, now it's still too garish and bright. So over here, plasma layer selected. I'm going to crank down the opacity until I get something. Again, this is a background, right? So you don't want the background competing with the elements in the foreground. So for this, for me, and yours might be different, I have this cranked down to like 46%, and that looks okay. Now you can also go in with the eraser tool, and you can erase stuff. You could also select the plasma text, and you could do the Command T and edit, distort, that as well. But I'm not going to do that just because to save time. One other thing with the plasma texture, when you get the plasma texture that you want, select the plasma texture layer, do a Command A, and remember the plasma texture is still all out. Photoshop is still saving all that stuff that we can't see. Just to save some RAM for this exercise, if you were working on a professional project, you would want to preserve all of the imagery in case you want to adjust it. But for us, just to save some memory, do a Command A, make sure the plasma texture is selected, then go to Image, Crop. Okay, so that is the background that I'm going to stick with. So save your file, Command S or Control S, and I'll see you in the next video.